The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Hi, folks. This is not Larry Kudlow. This is Steve Moore, and honored to be in the Larry Kudlow seat today. As most of you know, Larry was out on the West Coast at the great Reagan Library. I'm jealous that he was able to go out there right outside the Stanford University, and he is flying back to the East Coast today, so was not able to do the show live. So I am honored to be in the Kudlow seat today. Our next guest is someone who's been a friend and an advisor to me for many, many, many years, and that's Nancy Tengler from Laffer Tengler Investments. Nancy is one of the smartest people I know when it comes to how to make money. So, Nancy, thanks for joining.
Steve, that's so kind. Thank you. It's good to be on with you.
So I was just on, by the way, with someone you've worked with over the years, Arthur Laffer, and I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Arthur at the end of that interview, which is, we've seen record highs in the S&P, we've seen record highs in the NASDAQ, we've seen record highs in the Dow Jones, and people are wondering whether the market is going to run out of gas. Arthur was pretty bullish. How about you?
Yeah, Steve, this is, I've drawn the analogy to the 90s for the last 4 years. But here's what's different.
Wow, I like that analogy.
I know, I enjoyed the 90s. But here is what's different. EPS growth is actually keeping pace with market returns, and in some periods outpacing market returns. So we actually saw multiple price earnings multiple contraction this year, and we're going to see earnings growth of about 22% for the full year, and we were up 28% in the first quarter. So as long as earnings growth sustains, and I agree with Art that we are not going to see a recession, at least not anytime soon, and then operating margins at historic highs. So you want to be long this stock market. We will get a correction. That's healthy. And if you're not in, that's when you step in.
Now, a lot of people are calling this kind of a dual economy, Nancy. I'm sure you've heard that many times, where we have, fantastic returns in AI and robotics and the technology giants. And then people say, but the rest of the industry is not so good. Do you agree or disagree with that assessment?
I don't agree. I mean, of course, the earnings growth in technology is dwarfing everything else. But if you listen to the companies as we do, what you're hearing is a company like L3 Harris, for example, that said, we are producing more revenue per employee by 25% than we were just a few years ago.
Wow.
So we're hearing that in, across the board from financial companies, pharmaceutical companies. AI is driving productivity, and you and I grew up in the productivity boom of the 1990s. That will sustain deflationary or disinflationary growth. And I think we're in for a sustained period of economic growth and then robust stock market returns.
I generally agree with that. And what I've been saying, Nancy, is that despite all the fears, and there's a big backlash among the public against AI, this is going to be essentially what you just said, one of the great productivity revolutions ever. And if you want higher stock values and you want faster economic growth, you need productivity.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's also a misnomer that we're hearing from the media is that technology jobs are disappearing. But in the first quarter, we saw the biggest growth in software engineering.
I saw that. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. So I think what will happen is the pundits will be wrong, and I guess that means you and me to some extent. But we.
By the way, sorry to interrupt, but when the pundits are wrong, that's a good opportunity to make money, right?
100%. That's exactly where I was going. And So you know that we're going to see job growth expansion. It may not be in old economy jobs, but we will continue to see software engineers get hired. Legal AI is not going to replace lawyers. There is a lot of opportunity, I think, in this environment for improving what people produce and doing it at a lower cost. That's good for everybody, as you know. And that is the Laffer curve on some level, right?
Sure it is.
Supply side
Big
economics. Time. Yeah. So
now
I'm really optimistic.
When I do my show, this is obviously the Kudlow show, but I follow him doing the More Money show and sitting in his seat today because he's traveling. But, I talk to blue collar workers, Nancy, and, they're nervous. The truck drivers and construction workers and so on are nervous about what this means for their jobs. How would you walk those people, who are understandably concerned about whether they're going to have a job in 2 or 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, well, I think, the ISM manufacturing expansion is in progress, and I think that's good for every blue-collar worker. And I grew up in a blue-collar home, so I revere that part of the economy, and we need more people in those jobs. There's 450-plus thousand manufacturing jobs that we can't fill. And so robotics will help some of that, but human beings will not be replaced. They will be enhanced in the performance of the job.
I like that.
And I think that's the
I'm going to steal that line from you, Nancy. That's a good.
You can
say it again. Well, say it again. It was worth repeating.
Oh, just that blue-collar workers and manufacturing workers will not be replaced by AI. Their performance will be enhanced. Yeah.
I love that. And it happens to be true. And by the way, every breakthrough in science or in manufacturing or in technology has led to workers making more money, not less.
Right. And cost of living, quality of living going way up. So I think this is a golden era, to be sure. And that doesn't mean stocks are going to go straight up. We will get pullbacks, and that's fine. We had DeepSeek a year and a half ago. We had the first quarter of this year, and Laffer Tengler was in buying because we think this is a early stages of a sustainable bull market. So
I'm talking to Nancy Tengler, who is with Laffer Tengler Investments, which is a great advisory firm for those who are looking for investment advice. In our last 60 seconds, Nancy, what do you like out there in terms of either companies or sectors?
Yeah, so we've been adding to some of the infrastructure names. So think Quanta Services, ticker PWR. They're building out the grid. GE Vernova is going to, produce the turbines that drive the energy needed. I think if you can get your hands on anything in space, we have a thematic portfolio that we invest in space robotics, quantum, and nuclear, and it's up something like 40% this year, and that's because that is going to change. Those areas are going to change the way we live in the future. Steve, they're not going to take our keys away. We're going to hop in a cyber cab and come home, and our robot will have shaken our martini for us. So it's good.
It's so funny. We should end on that note because we're building these transit systems. Nobody's going to use mass transit any longer. We're all going to have our own spaceship.
The Larry Kudlow Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.